Hello and welcome. My name is Lori Rabati and today I'm going to share with you a technique called Black Ice from Melissa Kerman. This is the sample I cased directly from Melissa. We used basic black, basic gray, white, and silver foil. But for today's tutorial we're going to experiment and we're going to use Calypso Coral, basic gray, and the copper foil. So we'll start with an 8.5 by 5.5 piece of the Calypso Coral. Use our bone folder, fold it in half and give it a nice crease. Then we're going to start with our 2 pieces of basic gray. The first one is 5.25 by 4, and we're going to actually stick it down to our surface so that it doesn't move. We're going to be using the ink directly to the paper. We're going to use the archival black, and then we're going to use this short edge there at the top. And we're going to just drag the ink down, and see how I stop there? It leaves a line. Don't worry about it. It's going to be hidden. So don't panic if that happens to you. We're going to turn it around and then we're going to drag it down again. And all that we do by turning around is just giving the top and bottom edges a little bit of extra black. Then we'll start with the second piece. It's 3.25 by 4.25, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're just running the ink pad down, turning it around, and then we'll do it again, and then you'll see that it evens out the black and it just gives it a really nice little film of black over top. Next you're going to bring in your copper foil. You're going to want to be careful with this. You don't want to get your finger smudges all over it. It just enhances it much more if it's still shiny. So use a piece of paper so that you don't get your fingerprints on it. So you stick it to the surface of the paper, and then use your white paper to hold it down as you're dragging the black ink down each side. And then you're going to, like we did with the gray, you're going to turn around and you're going to stick it down again using the paper to press it, and then you're going to run your ink pad down again both sides. So down one side, move your paper over to hold it still, and then drag it down the other side. And that's all there is to that part. We're going to use the Heartfelt Blooms for this card, and we're going to use the big flower, and again we're staying with the same archival black ink. We're just going to ink up the pad, and then we're going to ink it directly to the copper foil. Now when you put this on and the greeting, the foils are a little bit slipperier, so you're going to want to make sure that you're just pressing down straight and then lifting up straight, because you don't want them to slide around. So we're just going to put thank you on here. Again, we're just using the black ink. And that's all there is to it. That part's done. Now it's still, because it's on the foil, it's going to stay just a little bit. It's not really wet, but it's tacky. It's hard to see because of the shine of the foil, but you'll get to see it a little bit later. So just use your heat gun, and if you've got a heat gun that has a cooling one or drying, then you can just use that instead of the heat. Just dry it up a little bit so that it's not tacky anymore. And then you're going to, next you're going to use your Versamark pad. Now when you use your Versamark, you're going to drag it just like you did the black ink, but you're going to drag it very, very lightly. Just so lightly, just drag it down one side, and then you're going to drag it down the other side. And there you have it. And then next we're going to put clear embossing powder over it. So just again hanging by the edges so that you're not putting your fingerprints into the Versamark, and then the powder. So just let it spread all over, and then tap off the extra or the excess powder. And then we're going to use our heat gun, and then we're going to emboss it. Now remember, once it starts melting, I guess for lack of a better word, you keep on going. Don't hold it down in one spot for too long. You don't want to burn it. So you can see how quickly it's melting, and just turn it around and continue until all the white powder has been melted onto the card. So pretty. You can see it starting to come together. It's got a little bit of sheen to it, and then just the black just Looks so pretty on the copper. Now we're just going to basically put your card together. So you'll adhere your the first piece that you did with the basic gray, the 5 1/4 by 4 inch. You're going to just do that directly to your card base. And then you'll do your next piece and adhere it to your Calypso coral, and that piece is 3 1/2 by 4 1/2. The Calypso coral, you just adhere your basic gray to that, and then you're going to adhere your copper foil to the top of that. Put a little bit extra tape there, just it's a little bit heavier, and then just line it up. Next, I'm going to use Calypso coral ribbon. The ribbon that I use is actually free from the Celebration catalog. And then to do this little one, all I do is I tie it around my finger or a pencil and tie a knot in it. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of tape on each side so that I can secure it at the back. It doesn't have to, I don't put tape across the whole length of the ribbon. So we'll just wrap it around and adhere it. And then we're going to use your dimensionals. Now for this one, because you've got 3 layers of cardstock, I'm going to add a few more dimensionals than I normally do, just because the copper foil is a little bit heavier and you want it to lay flat on your card so that you don't have it bowing anywhere. So you just remove your pieces, and then when we're done that, then we're just going to adhere it to the front of our card. There we go. And then just use your scissors, and then you're going to cut that bow. That's not a bow, but it's a tie. Nice little knot. And there you have it. That's all there is to it. It's so simple, yet it is so elegant. And there you go. There's a little bit of a better look for it. Thank you so much for joining.